Hello and welcome to another episode of the C4 Corvette Diary on Martin's Review channel. Today I'm going to do something very special to my C4 Corvette, at least in my means, and this episode will be about adding the Italian flavor to the C4 Corvette. What does it mean? Just stay with me, stay tuned, and you'll see. Okay, now let's get serious and talk about the OEM steering wheel, which looks amazing and fits the interior very nicely. The gorgeous visibility is perfect through the steering wheel spokes too. But there is one thing that bothers me when it comes to the OEM steering wheel. When I hop into the car and set up the correct driving position, my left knee is only an inch far from the steering wheel, and that is the reason I can't turn the steering wheel safely without touching my knee. So I got a plan to change it. I bought this beautiful 340mm Momo steering wheel, which is slightly smaller than the OEM 360mm steering wheel. The new steering should help me to improve the ergonomics and driving experience. Another thing I needed is a correct steering wheel hub, so I ordered the vintage unused Momo 82702 hub, which should retain tilt and tele function of the OEM steering column and should be a direct fit to my C4. Well, this turned out to be a little bit of a problem, as I figured out later. Before I put my hands on replacing the steering wheel, I disconnected the battery negative cable and centered the steering wheel. Then I pulled out the horn button just by hand. With the horn cap removed, first thing we have to do is to unplug this horn retainer. You just have to remove the pin that is holding the retainer in place and just pull it off. Now I'm going to put the bolts from the steering wheel puller in here and in here. Steering wheel removal was pretty straightforward. I bolted the steering wheel remover to the hub with bolts and turned the puller shaft with the wrench clockwise until the wheel popped out. Then I needed to remove the horn contact spring from OEM steering wheel. The spring needs to be reused in a new steering wheel. That's just it. Before I put the new hub on the shaft, I fixed the steering wheel with two bolts on the hub to make sure where the center is. Then I put the hub on the shaft and things started to be problematic. I couldn't get back steering wheel shaft nut by any means. So I tried and tried and tried without any success. So I started my detective work and realized that the steering wheel was not properly seated in the shaft, so I wasn't able to put the nut back. Do you smell the problem? I did too, but I didn't know where to start, so I removed the steering wheel from the shaft and provided a closer bench inspection. Then I realized that the inner diameter of the hub that goes on the shaft was a bit smaller than it should be, and it did not allow to hub the seat properly on the shaft. So I decided to do a little bit of Dremel surgical job to make the seat things properly. After more than an hour of careful trimming, bearing in mind that I have to keep the teeth and hole intact, I had a perfectly trimmed inner portion of the hub. Before, this part of the hub was aligned with this end of the spline, so it wasn't correct. After the painful trimming and fitting procedure, I could finally install the steering wheel correctly. To complete that, I had to install the spring in a hub. There is a plastic piece on the bottom and I had to press the white end of the spring onto it while turning the spring so that it locks in. The bent up end of a spring has to make contact with a small stud. I turned the spring until there was about 1/4 of an inch between the bent part of the spring and the metal casting holding the stud. Job was done. Yeah, it blows perfectly. That's great. Now I'm going to put back the telescopic retainer nut and give the car a short drive just to make sure that the steering wheel is centered. Secure. Okay, so the steering wheel is aligned in the center. Now just torque it. While installing this hub, the telescopic retainer lever should go in the opposite way than on the stock hub. So now you can see that it's pretty nicely hidden. And from now, the process is pretty same as when removing, only reversed. And that's it. Now let's plug the horn contact. Okay, she's in. Great. And we're done. The painful 30 minutes install that took 2 days was finally over. With everything in place, I could now enjoy overall look on the interior with the new perfect steering wheel. The final result was more than good. With this replacement, I added more than an inch of space between my knee and the steering wheel. More than this, the new steering wheel added more precision to the car handling and interior ergonomics without sacrificing the unique look of the interior. Overall, I am very happy with the result. As Italians say, bellissimo. And so, this was another note to my C4 Corvette diary. If you liked the video, hit the like, hit the subscribe button, visit my Patreon, and see you later, guys!